everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is November 27th, 2023. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Come See the New Multiple Object Types on Object Trader. And as everyone knows, it's been to our webinars or live trading room. Everything that's said and done at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars I have, live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right. If not, we'll go ahead and get started. By the way, Maz, I'll explain that. Just remind me a little bit more into the webinar. Maz's question is, what is the micros multiplier? So I think I need to actually, I think I did put that on the website, I believe. Let me show you here real quick. I think it is, if you go to your login, members area, and under object types, or actually it's, let's see here, where's the clone? Right here, regular contracts and micros. So it's just above the training webinars for Monday night. That'll go over how to use the micros contracts. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at a chart, and I wanna show you a new little trader that I'm working on. That's pretty cool. All right, first off, let's go ahead and look and see, you know, if you're looking at a set of stairs and you're kind of at the third floor of an apartment building, you're kind of thinking that you're probably stair-stepping. Which direction would you think? And you're pretty much stair-stepping down. So when I look at this, I look at, okay, if they break this 88 right here, I'm thinking they could very possibly head up and at least maybe check this swing. Okay, if they break 67, they're going to break even lower. Okay, so I'm looking for thrust, retrace, roll, or break this 88. So let's see what actually happened. We'll do the lightning 2 just to check it. Okay, so it's already happened. See, it did break 88. Okay, see how that thrust and kissed it? That's how you can take a quick 10-tick trade, by the way, even against a trend, because that's a lightning 3 swing right there. And you can clearly see it had a low, high, higher low, higher high, and so on. Okay, but let's talk about a new little trader that's been designed for you. Bear with me a second. I'll go ahead and get a chart up here. And well, you can see this actually did change trends and everything. Doesn't mean that it's going to head up yet. It's got to kind of take out this area, remember? Okay, so what I've designed here for you is a little trader on Object Trader. And I showed this last week, I believe. I'm on version OT Object Trader 3.16. You're on 3.10. You'll still be on that for maybe a day or so longer, because I've got the programmer working on some things I want. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and use my version tonight. So we double click it. We're in playback mode, so we're going to put it in enabled, and we're going to click this, and we're ready to go, except for we've got to refresh the chart. Why it does that's beyond me. Can't seem to figure that one out. Okay, if anybody knows what causes that, it'd be worth a month's subscription for you, probably. Just let me know. All right, so basically what we've done, you'll notice on the Object Trader, there's no more object types. Okay, now the reason we had to do that is because you can't select object types on this panel and choose multiple object types. It just wasn't possible. We worked on it and worked on it. It just couldn't be done. So the object types are now in this top panel, and you just simply click them. Okay, but the beauty of this new trader is that you can actually choose multiple object types and they will fire. Now I'm talking to the programmer about a little buttons or little check boxes down here, because what I want to do is, let's say for instance I wanted to get the first trade in the mid-band after a trend change, okay? So this trend changed, got a little mid-band trade right through here. We might have gotten stopped out, got it again. But anyway, what I'm getting at though, is I want to get it to where once it takes the particular trade you're trying to take, that it then shuts off the object types and shuts off LE, SE, RD, anything that was selected up here. Then I want it to do fully auto, which means that if you turn this on, turn these on, it's just going to keep trading until you stop it, okay? And then I want a third one, which will be a second check mark down here because the auto is one check mark. The other one will be a check mark that'll basically hit the first type that you want and turn everything off. The next one will be, let's say that if I wanted to pick like say a mid-band trade, a wedge trade, a bar close trade, and a region close, then the way this would do, it would go ahead and leave the object trader on LE or SE, okay, until each one of those is hit. But I could turn them off if I wanted to. Like, let's say, for instance, I get in one and I say, well, you know, I don't really want to take a bar close now. But then it would still stay on like an auto until all of them had been hit. So a mid-band gets hit, this turns off. A wedge gets hit, it turns off. Auto region gets hit, it turns off. So that way you'd be able to choose full auto. You'd be able to choose where it just hits one type of trade and it shuts these off, which is the way it always has done and always will do. Even now is the way this works. And the third type, which will be a second check mark on there. Okay, and I hope that makes sense, because basically what it really boils down to is that I want to be able to take these trades. You know, let's say, for instance, I wanted to do a region or maybe a trend line, okay? So let's say that I do an object type of trend line, which is wedge now, but we will have a new trend line trade, by the way, very shortly, because I only want one trend line called the trend line trade, okay? So this would be my bottom line, and this is the way I would do it. And if I wanted to actually take this trade like on a breakout, I could obviously go long above. That would be a little bit riskier than this if it happened to break. Okay, but I can also then turn on, let's say that I wanted to turn on, let's say lightning, for instance. Okay, I could turn on lightning. I could turn on, now keep in mind this wedge is going to have to be the last thing you change, because notice that kicked off just then. Okay, so I've got to talk to him on that too. So if we select a wedge, this needs to stay drawn. Okay, so we're not ready to release just yet, but these are little things that need to be done. Okay, so now see, I've chosen two object types. So if it hits these, it will take the trade. Okay, and it will take both of these trades even, because this is called a multiple object type. Okay, I'm getting about like y'all are about this, showing all this different stuff on here. It's got to get some kind of delay on it. Okay, will the new system go against mid-band at certain time intervals, Maz? No, well, basically it's just going to take the trade you tell it to take. You know, it's not going to think about it, it's just going to do it, which we all think about trades rather than just doing them. Okay, so basically what we've done here is we've decided to add an object type that you can choose multiple types, is what it really boils down to. You know, for instance, I could even choose a power dot, and if I chose a short one, see, this has definitely got to be fixed here because that wedge has got to stay on there. Okay, if I chose a power dot even that was, let's say, for instance, I just wanted to go short only, since this is pretty much a short chart, then I could choose, for instance, wedge on, power dots on, and your lightning. And if I put it in auto, then once it breaks the wedge, it would take one. If it breaks lightning and this changes to red, it will take one. If it, what was our other one? Was power dots. If it got a white power dot, it would also take a trade. Okay. because I don't have trend turned on. Okay, so basically this would actually do all three of these trades right here. What if I wanted to do a region also? Now watch, if I click this, that wedge is going to go off. So that's got to stay on. I'll talk to him about that. Okay, so let's say I wanted to do a box, for instance, okay, and I hit insert, and there's my box. Okay, let's say that I wanted to do 2 ticks out of it. Now I've actually got region, wedge, power dots, and your lightning. Okay, and those can all trigger. If I leave this on auto, they'll all trigger all the way up to your max number of contracts. Okay, so this is going to be, I think, a pretty powerful tool actually, because what I personally like to do is get in a trade around those mid bands, watch my overall trend, and I sometimes go against the trend because I draw lines on my charts. I can see you've got a high here, a low here, and a higher high here. What if I wanted to put a region right across here? I could also do that. And he's working on making these regions where they're different colors also. So if I chose region, all right, let's redo our little trend deal here, because that's not staying, and it will be as soon as I fix it. All right, so now our region, we would do an insert also. Let me see if this is going to get this. It may not get it now because it's a region and an auto region. So that is the same thing right now. Let's see what this does. All right, so we'll turn it on and see you got a region type trade already. Okay, you'll notice that you got another one. Now see, this is what I want turned off. Notice that that's firing regions because it's getting the criteria for firing those region trades. But what I want him to do is to make this where region turns off, auto region turns off if it hits it, and then it just goes for the other trades. Because otherwise I could get in all 4 contracts just on this region, and I don't want that. So I want a little checkbox right here. Everybody see what I mean? Okay, so that's really important in my opinion. We've got to get that done. Okay, that's really, really important. See, because I got in 2 contracts and I didn't really want to get in more than 1. But if that auto's on, it's going to keep, as a matter of fact, it'll fire it again if it touches the bottom of that. So if I didn't want it to, I've got to turn these off, and then it won't. But notice that my wedge did that again. So that's, like I say, that's got to be fixed. Okay, so let's see. We'll just leave it like that. So hopefully this works out for this illustration. And let's put a target down here like at Phantom, and another one right down here at the swing. Okay, so basically what I've done here is I've made it to where you can actually do multiples, but as you can see, I've got to actually put some little check marks here for the type of trade setups. Because, you know, like I said, for instance, I didn't want 2 just because it touched that region twice. I want him to get it to where that automatically goes off the moment it gets in that particular trade if I check a check mark. Okay, I wouldn't mind being in 1 with this happening like this. See what I mean? Because I've actually chosen it to be short because it basically rejected resistance, so we're hoping anyway. Okay, and if I wanted to even make this even more pronounced on my trend line, I can do all of this on the fly. Okay, for instance, if it takes out that trend line, I could be adding to my trade. Now, if it stops me out, it stops me out. We may get stopped out. Okay, so you see what we're doing here? Multiple object types. Okay, with multiple object types, you're going to be able to choose. And like I say, they're going to be able to stay on if it's in auto. And that would have automatically fired both trades to begin with. But if I do this checkbox over here and another checkbox over here, this is going to be 3 different types of trades. Fully auto, fully where it only gets in 1 trade and shuts everything off, okay? Or to where you put multiple ones and every one of these that's hit, it turns them off, turns them off, turns them off, okay? Which I think is going to be a good way to do it because I personally would like that quite a bit. Okay, so let's see what we get here. Watch us get stopped out on this one. We've got a trend line drawn though. Let's see if we can even add one if it does break the trend line. Got a lower high. See, for this to really head up, it's got to actually take that out. And it's got to take it out and come back and kiss it. See now how that did though? See, I don't want that, okay? I don't want to get in on all four contracts just because it breaks like a wedge. I would want it to where the object type would automatically turn wedge off. Then if power dot gets hit, it would turn it. Let's just turn it on. Let's see if it'll, this may be too many, but let's just see if it gets a white power dot. And we'll turn off wedge. We'll turn off PM because it's already hit it. And we'll see if we can get a power dot to the downside just for the fun of it. So it would actually get in more contracts if it did. No white power dot yet. But see how that trade actually worked out with me doing multiple object types like that? That's going to be a pretty cool way to trade, in my personal opinion, because I look at these trades like this, for instance. Let's say that you got in this trade. Get in one contract here, another contract here, another contract if it hits mid-band and rolls over. So you're in a total of 3. And then look at that monster. It never stopped you out. You know, that could be a really, really good way to trade. Now that's a little phantom, but we are short, so we'll just stay short, okay? But we missed getting a phantom. We could have gotten that if we'd wanted to, I guess, but we didn't see it, okay? So that's the way this is going to work here. And this little multiple trader, I think it's going to add to your bottom line. I really do, because we'll see it just did another object type, whichever one it fired there, I'm not sure. We've got power dot, must have been a power dot. See, I've got power dots turned off on my trend. Notice that it says target quantity not equal. Let's see if it stays that way, because we show 2 and we've got 3 targets, so that's not correct. So let's see if we take 1 off, if we still got 1, and if we take 1 more off, if we're flat. Yeah, so that's got to be fixed right there. So see what I'm getting at? There's several things in here that I want to keep testing for a programmer, because this is multiple object types. So object traders got to recognize them all. Okay, let's see what we got turned on still. We've got no object types, power dots. Let's do a auto region close. And if it touches the bottom, that will actually add. Still heading down in my opinion. See how it broke and kissed resistance even right here. See how it broke, kissed, and rolled. That's what we did on oil today. You like that, Maz? Yeah, I try to run this business real well. Okay, so this is going to be the multiple object types. Now we will also have a new feature on Object Trader. I can't show you tonight because I basically got this on playback, so you know it's only one account. But if you have multiple accounts, like on clone, it even has a little warning that comes up and tells you if you're out of kilter on clone. Now, one thing after, matter of fact, my son's in the room today. I'm going to mention what happened to him today. Okay. One thing that we're working on with these trades is going to be to make sure that you're covered in the case of internet outage or something like that. Okay. Because for some reason, I don't know why it is, but my son twice now has lost his internet and he loses his connection. And he's basically out there without stops or targets, because you know how that is. If you're cloned, it's only in the sim mode. So if you lose that sim mode, you're cloned still, but you don't have any stops or targets. So what we're going to do, and he's looking into it tomorrow morning, is we're going to add a stop regardless. We won't go for targets because that's what can get it out of kilter because of the way the brokers do partial orders and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it to where Object Trader will automatically put a stop in on all of the clone charts. Okay, we don't have any clones on this one because it's in playback. Okay, so you'll be able to rest assured then if you lost power and you got a 15 tick stop, you're going to have that 15 tick stop across the board. Okay, so to me, that's pretty critical. We looked very heavily into making it to where it was like a replicado or trade copier, you know, to where they actually have, you know, stops, targets, and the whole 9 yards, but they get out of kilter. You know, I've traded replicado before and they definitely get out of kilter. So what we're trying to do is get it to where you never will get out of kilter because, well, you just don't want it to be. I mean, if it comes down here with a message, then you're out of kilter with your clones. Okay, let's see if other questions coming in. Let's see, would it be more advantageous to go against trends, green mid-band, when the overall trend's been down? Oh yeah, definitely. Quincy just coming from another seminar. All right. Are you able to back test the winning percentage of trading with multiple objects? You know, Quincy, I kind of doubt it because truthfully, you know, the way we trade, we're pretty much scalpers. You know, like for instance, if I was in this trade right now, I don't think I'd let them go much above that swing right there with exit on close. You know, so that's more manual trading in my personal opinion, and it would be not as conducive to, you know, like doing a real phenomenal back test or something like that. What I'm trying to do is just get it to where people can get their P&Ls nice and add some trades and things like that. Let's just see real quick if this even hits mid-band. I'm going to see if we can get a rollover type trade. If we can get something, we may not. Let's go ahead and add if it, oh, we already got 6, never mind. We've got more than enough. Okay, so you'll notice that if you've got 6, I could take 1 or 2 off and then add them back if it takes out the bottom of the box, but that would be kind of dumb, wouldn't it? Okay, so you just keep in mind this isn't quite ready to go because these things that I want to add to it, I think are pretty necessary. I think they're real necessary as a matter of fact, because, you know, for instance, if I'm in auto, well, if this hits a target, it's going to fire whatever trade is still left on here. So when you get in a trade and you're up nicely, go ahead and turn the auto off and that off, and then you won't fire these trades. But I want to get it to where you have an option to just select that way. And once it hits this trade, it shuts off. Once it hits this one, it shuts off. Once it hits that one, it shuts off. And it's done trading except for hitting your targets or stops. Okay. Now this could be pretty powerful though, because if you think about it on an object type, let's say for instance, you just wanted to do an object type of bar close. If that bar closes down, you take another contract, that type of thing. You can do that. Now there you go. Mike said made 8,100 on NQ on 6 platforms today. Cool. That's the way to do it. Do I have an idea of with multiple objects you will use based on trends up or down or sideways? Well, keep in mind that, you know, basically what you want to do is you're the trader. And, you know, for instance, if I saw like a trend line, well, let's just see. Let's just see if we can get a trade. Just what if it kisses right here or takes like a bar close? Could I go ahead and get in that trade? See, I'm already in it. Okay, if I turn this back on auto, I could be in as many as however many I've got there. Let's go with total of 4. Okay, so that kissed resistance, see right there. See how it kissed it? So could I take another one if that bar closes down? We'll see. We'll see if it stays. It's going to try to kiss this one right here instead, but that's okay. We'll see if it'll roll now. And if it does, we'll get another one. See how we're just in one right now? The beauty of this object type is that you'll be able to take different types of trades. Like for instance, if I wanted a auto region right here, I just simply hit insert, and then if it touches the bottom of that region, I could fire that trade. See how bar closed down, but I'm still going on the region also. So again, this can be a pretty powerful tool, and especially when you add clone to it. Because just like Mike was saying, for instance, he said he did $8,100 on NQ on 6 platforms. That's phenomenal. That's trading right. Okay. Let's see. When you say resistance, are you referring to line in the sand? No, Maz, on your question there, you also have what's called micro resistance, and you can see it if you just simply draw your lightning. See how I said it was going right back there? That's where it went. Went a little bit higher, but the wick is all it did. It just kissed that area. That's a kiss of resistance. It's not a kiss of this resistance way up here. It's just this micro resistance. And that's what they do continually. For instance, if they break this swing right here, do you think they're still heading down? No, they're not. So you'd obviously put your stop right across there right now. And now you could even put it right there and just move your targets out of the way. Now keep in mind, if this is on auto, it's going to stay all the way up to 4 contracts. So it's up to you to turn this off until I add those little buttons there. Look at that thing go. See how it keeps adding though? All right, you might want to turn that off because you're still in 4, and that was a pretty good shotgun. So I'd probably protect some coin on it myself, simply because it kind of shotgunned down. Okay. So now what if you said, you know what, I just want the next mid-band trade. Well, what if it doesn't touch mid-band, but it touches a predictor? Well, you could actually do, let's just turn these off. We could do mid-band, we could do predictor above, and we could do power dot. Let's do trend power dot though. All right, so now we've got a trade setting up. If it kisses predictor, it will fire. If it kisses mid-band, it will fire. There you go. See there? That's kissing predictor. That one's coming up, looks like to kiss mid-band. Our stop would be right at the swing. See the swing right there? And there you go. You just had 3 contracts with the new object type, mid-band, trend power dots, and predictor. Fired a trade beautifully. See how that worked? Now, what if you had just set, well, mid-band, nope, mid-band did not fire. See there? Never touched mid-band. So with multiple object types, we actually got trend power dots and we got predictor above. Okay, but since it was on auto, it touches the bottom of that and it fires more contracts. That's what it actually did. So see, mid-band never fired because you never touched mid-band. Now, if I would have set my mid-band offset for like 4, it would have fired, but that's hindsight. See what I mean? So this is going to be a good way to get in some good trades because, for instance, I watched my son one day and he had told me that he fired a mid-band trade. Well, luckily it hit the mid-band exactly and it fired while he was getting his kiddos ready for school, okay, with his wife. So that was lucky simply because it touched mid-band. If he had had it set for like 2 or 3 or something like that, it would have still fired, obviously. But you don't know that. So with multiple object types, I just selected mid-band, trend power dots, and predictor above, and I shorted it. So see, I've got me a decent little trade going because I shorted a predictor type trade. And you notice that predictor automatically draws. Okay, that's a pretty cool part about it because that's a region. See how it draws over the predictor? That's a region type trade. Let's see if we can get another trade set up. We'll even add, no, we're already in 3. Let's add only if it does mid-band. We'll just turn on mid-band. May get it, may not. Now, if you get going the wrong way, it could be a disaster. Well, sure, but the whole thing is, where would your stop be right now anyway? Right above there. Because look at your lightning. See your lightning right there? Stair stepping down, that's your stop. So you're not risking hardly anything at all on this, right? Now I got to figure out what he's doing here because this is actually saying it's 17 tick stop. That's not a 17 tick stop. That's a 17 tick stop. That's your catastrophic. If I take this off, let me see if it'll go down a little bit more. If I take that off, that's still not 17 ticks. So I'm not sure what he's doing there. Because that's not 16 ticks. So I'm going to have to check into that also. That is not 16 ticks. Now, is it 16 ticks from the beginning trade? I don't think so even then. So I've got to check with him on that and find out why that says 16 ticks when it's obviously only about 4. Okay. I like it personally myself. Now, if it's something that you never want to use, that's not a problem with me. I've got a lot of things on Object Trader that not everybody uses all the time. If Charles were still alive today, he'd just be boxing in. That's all he ever did. He never used my trend lines, my phantom trades, my power. Well, he wasn't alive when I did power dots, predictor trades, stuff like that. He was a boxer. That's it. He would box in trades. He would diagnose his charts. He'd look at the approximate Fibonacci's and things, mid bands and stuff, and he'd box them in. So it's not something you have to do, but keep in mind that, for instance, if I decided I wanted like a bar close, if that happens to go down, see how that's a lower high right there? Maybe I want to go ahead and go one more contract. See, I'm in 2. Maybe I want 3 if it happens to go down. That's a bar close down. If it goes down, it's a mid-band trade also, so I'm just going to put my stop right there. See, and I just got in a total of 3. And if I've got it turned on fully, I'm in, should be in 4 here pretty soon. If you get a bar to the downside. Target not equal, that's something he's got to look at because I'm in a total of 4. Now I'm in 2. Let's see if it gets us in any more. We're going to put our stop nice and tight though. Do you have to go with the new version of OT, Bob? Well, no, but keep in mind there's other fixes that go along with this. So if you wanted to stay with 310, I don't think you'll be able to go past 310 though, simply because there were some things in some of those earlier versions that we fixed some things. So I'd have to really think about that one. Let's see, is there a way to keep the object type panel as the first tab heading when we shrink the chart? I could definitely talk to him on that because I thought about that too. I don't like it clear over here because if I had a shrunken chart like so, I would want it where that object trader alerts is. Yeah, I'll talk to him on that tomorrow. Okay, so let's see, are we out of kilter on totals? If we are, that's something he's got to definitely look at. Yeah, we're in 3 positions and we've got 4 targets. So somehow with that little bit of movement, and it may just be playback because I haven't had this happen to me on my live account, but playback's kind of funky. But you could get rid of 1 target and you'd be back in kilter. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, the thing is too, Kenneth, on your question, one of the things I added to Object Trader to begin with is this flatten all. Let's say that you just wanted 4250 and you said, you know what, that's good enough. What do you think? You want to let it go back or you want to just flatten all? I mean, that's the key to flatten all. You got to make up your mind. Do we let it retrace a little bit and then go down again? Or do you say, you know what, if you come down one more time, I'm flattening you. See what I mean? That's why I designed that flatten all button. Because what if you didn't want to go below 4,000? Then boom, you're flat. And then if you went back into Object Trader, you would see that you were up about $4,000 on those. See, 40-40. That's what's good about flatten all, in my opinion. I personally like that little feature because what if you were trading gold and oil and you were watching your P&L and you said, you know what, I'm up $800 for the day, boom, flatten all. That's why I added that button, because I didn't want to go into each strategy and go, okay, I got to close this one, and I got to go to the next one and close it. This way I can close them both or any charts by just flatten all. Okay. Okay, so basically that's kind of it on the multi-type object trader. You're not going to want to just go, you know what, let's just turn them all on and see what they do, because does that make any sense to you at all? You know, why would that make any sense? That wouldn't make any sense at all, because you're going to take certain types of trades, right? So the key to it is take the certain type of trades. You know, just if you're looking for a predictor trade, first time in the mid-band, stuff like that, just turn it on only. You know, like this is a predictor trade right here. Predictor above. You know, will this actually fire a trade if it turns on the predictor? We turn on object type, predictor above on. Probably a little bit too late, see, because there's your predictor right there. Now, if we would have turned it on earlier, it would have gotten that trade. See there? You can't turn it on after the fact because the trade is already headed down. Okay, the only way you could take this trade now is say, well, doggone it, I'm going to take a power dots trade. You know, maybe I want a power dots trade, or maybe I want a bar close trade, and then I turn it on auto, maybe go for 3 contracts, something like that. Okay, the max stop, you're talking about, Diane, on the one that we designed for you, for the one that you liked? Sure. Yeah, I can go over that. Let me just do that. Okay, so basically, let's go ahead and kill this. We don't need it. All right, let's say that what Diane's talking about, we added a new feature to Object Trader. It's under the parameters. It's not on the panel, so it makes you have to go in, either get in a new trade, or you know, you have to go in here, and you can't do that when you're in the middle of trade. So let's go ahead and go in here and scroll down. Do not allow larger stop once established. Now what that's going to do is going to make it to where when you go into a trade, and let's say that you've got a 15 tick stop, okay, and let's say that I go ahead and sell this here, and I've got my 15 tick stop, I can't say, well, you know what, that looks like a better swing right there, because it'll pop right back. It will not let you go above your 15 ticks. Now, once it goes in your favor, let's say it does that, now I can't go back even further than that. See there? That's so that a person, if they do decide to take a trade and it's going your way, once you move that stop, you can't move it again. Okay, now could you get out of the trade and back in? Sure. But that's a way to keep your stop from, well, like let's say for instance, I thought this was going to go for the gusto and I wanted to put my stop right there. Can't do it because I chose that max stop. Okay. Another thing that we added to Object Trader 2, I'll show you here. Is, you like that, Diane? Designed it just the way you wanted it. All right. Another thing that we added here also is this right here. Use market if touched on my target orders. The reason for that is because sometimes with the, you know, the order desk, so to speak, you don't necessarily get fills on your targets. Let's say you're trading micros and you're trading and getting out of 5 at a time. Well, you might get a partial fill of 4. And then all of a sudden you're out of kilter on your targets and everything. Well, this will actually fire market if touched. So I'm more than likely going to leave this on mine personally, simply because I like market if touched on targets. Because let's face it, once it hits a target, I want out. You know, I don't want it to miss my. Have you ever noticed that you could barely touch a target and it doesn't fire, and you think, why didn't that fire? Because it never really hit that price because of the limit orders. But a market if touched means that if it's touched, it will go ahead and fire the trade. Okay. Another brilliant idea. You like that one too? I try to keep. I don't want to get it where it's just almost impossible to keep up with how do you train on something that's a behemoth like this, because I do want it to be, somewhat simplistic so that we can all do this. Look at this double bottom right here. Could you actually say, you know what? If this breaks this area right here, what if I just wanted to, if it breaks it, to go long above that? Well, I could do an object type, do a region, and I could be in this thing, not now, I don't want it yet. What if it breaks that right there? What if I wanted that only if it breaks that right there? Well, I wouldn't put it where it just barely breaks it. I do like Charles taught quite a bit, and that would be it's got to break line 5, because they'll fake you at mid-band a lot. Will they fake this trade? Probably not, because then you'd have a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. So you could box that little puppy in if you wanted to. What if you just said, you know what? I want to take an object type of power dot to the upside, since it double bottomed here. I won't see the power dot, but Object Trader will, because I don't have my indicators turned on for power dots. I keep my power dots to where I just use the trend dots. Now, if I wanted to use all of them, I just simply turn that off and apply it, and then you'd see all of them. Or did I turn it? I turned off the dots, didn't I? Just a second. Don't do that, Gary. Yeah, use trend dots. Turn off the trend criteria. That's what you'd want to turn off right there. And see your green dots. You could actually fire a trade on a green dot by just simply having it on long if you wanted to. If this gets a green dot, it would fire the trade. If it breaks that box, it would fire the trade. Okay. Now this doesn't mean that I couldn't take a quick little short trade right here, because let's see if we can get 10 ticks if this doesn't break. As a matter of fact, let's just do for 10 ticks. Turn this off. Turn on object types. Bar close. Down. And we'll just go for 10 ticks. See if we can get it. Bar close down. Let's do 2 instead. We turn that off. So if this actually hits its head here and rolls, we'll take a trade. See, there's your trade right there. Now, will it get 10 ticks? We don't know, but we've got it set. Okay, now I think, did we turn Diane's stop off? Let's see if we did. Yeah, no, it's still on. So see, I can't go any further than this. So this could keep you from getting yourself in trouble. Because look at that, we're in the money regardless how this happens, unless it goes back to break even. Okay, but my stop's right there. I can't move it now. You know, it's no longer movable. It's right there in the middle of that deal. Matter of fact, it's kind of stuck on it, isn't it? There it is. There it is. Yeah, and then move it again. There you go. You hit your target. So that could be a little powerful deal too. And I'll put out videos on this and let everybody see how this works. And you're seeing how it works, because the way it was designed was the way Diane wanted this was on your strategy, not inside the panel, because you turn it off is what would happen. But if it's down here, then that means you have to either get out of the trade and back in it, or you just suck it up and take your stop. So that means do not allow larger stop once it's established. Okay. So again, once you move that, see, it would have taken you out finally. You did get 10 ticks, but notice that it would have taken you out because we put our stop right there. Okay. And you'll still be able to do things like reverse on stop and everything else too. Okay. So those are two new things that were added right there. The other thing that was added was the multiple object types. You'll be able to choose the multiple object types. And like I said, I'll talk to him about making sure that this stays on the left. I'd like for object types, clone. I don't care about hide panel because all that does is hides the panel. I don't care about hide predictor because all that does is hide predictor. So those can stay on the right as far as I'm concerned. The object trader alerts, no big deal if it stays on the right, in my opinion. Okay. The fibs I kind of like, but you could just have one instead. So let's put the object types and the Viper clones on the left side of the fibs. Okay, let's see. Yay, I can't move my stop ever again. All right. Well, you still could, because let's say that you got in a trade. Let's say, for instance, this got a higher low and I wanted to try a quick long. Okay. With your stop like that, see, I can't move it again, but I could easily get in another trade and just not move it. You see what I mean? And I'd be okay again. That's up, that's going to cost a person a trade commission though. So I think you got a good idea there. I like your stop like that, especially for scalping. Now for longer trends and stuff, maybe not so much. But how many times have you gotten in a trade and you think, well, did I looked at a higher low. Is this actually going to head up now? Well, maybe. But what if it doesn't? Then I could move my stop and not let it go back against it. So that's not a bad idea, especially if you're a scalper. Okay. Any questions on any of this so far? So to recap, the object types, you're going to be able to choose any of the types that you want. Now keep in mind that you want to kind of pick the ones that match your trade setups. Like for instance, mid-band trades are usually mid-band, power dots, and predictor. So if I was to choose those, I would choose mid-band, power dots, and predictor, and then turn on auto until it got to like 3 contracts, and then turn my auto off, and that way I don't get in any more trades. Okay, but I'm going to have you a little switch here that you'll be able to do that just simply because that's the way you want to trade it to begin with. You'll select the switch. Okay, so there'll be a little checkbox probably right under here that will more than likely say, what would we say on that? Well, you got your full auto. That's auto trading. We could move the required trend down here and then put these other checkboxes here and here. That way you got all 3 of them across there. So might even do it like auto trading's all the way over because that's the full auto. Then do the first one where if object trader or if object type is selected, once in trade, it fires and shuts everything off. And then the next one would fire however many you had selected, and then it would turn it off, just like auto. So I kind of like that middle button is the one I'll probably use the most because frankly, I don't like auto as much because I forget when I get into a trade. Watch what I'm talking about. Let's say that I get in a trade and I'm just going for, let's just for the fun of it, let's just see if this will work. See if it hits, see how it hit that target. But then if I had this on and bar close, then even though this is changing trends, this would keep going because it's in auto mode. So you have to remember that and turn it off. Okay, so I like the idea of having one that when I get the different object types, they'll automatically turn off, which could be very, very powerful. Okay, pretty cool. Trying to work to make y'all the best trading platform of anybody out there. Okay. One thing keep in mind when you're in a Viper clone, okay, until we change this, you're in sim trade. That's the way we want you to be, because remember, NinjaTrader has that issue with the unknown symbol, and they still haven't fixed that even in version 8.120. So we have to do the sim mode and then drop down our clones. So we're going to keep doing that. But I do want to put a stop in across the board because, you know, for instance, if I just lost power right now, let's just pretend we're in a real trade, then obviously I wouldn't want to have my other trades out there, you know, with nothing on. You know, they're just out there literally naked. The naked trade is not fun. When my son called me this morning, I think it was like 5:30, if I remember right. Um, he was in a trade like that. And now keep in mind, you can go to your Apex, just go to apextraderfunding.com on your cell phone even, and log in. And you could even make your cell phone remember the login. That way you can get into it quickly and then just kill the trade. Okay. But see, like Diane's talking about, like right here, for instance, what if I wanted to move the stop here? Okay. And then I change my mind. I can't change my mind. So that's pretty cool. But if I move it and I think, uh-oh, maybe that'll come back against me a little bit. Maybe it won't. You see what I mean? So basically, this little stop's not too bad because you could even trail bars as far as that goes. And once you move it, it will not let you go again. See what I mean? So we got taken out by simply having our stop right up there. Okay. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's see where this thing's going back to. It's so long now. I'd probably look for 38%. By the way, Object Trader has a feature on it that you can right click and put in a trade. You can right click and put in a trade. And you can right click and put in a trade. So if it hits any one of those, you're in, you know, because we've got right click trades available also that are pretty nice. Okay, because a lot of times they'll bounce right off of a fib and give you, you know, 10 ticks. So could you do something like that and just turn that on? And if it comes down and touches that, you're in for 10 ticks. Maybe fade it a little bit just in case, like a tick or so. Something like that, right? Right here, like so. Maybe a tick above it, like that. Okay. So we've got some good tools like this. We're going to add a trade. Let's see if Kenneth, yeah, Kenneth's in the room here today too. Kenneth, we're going to add you the object type for the dual moving averages. We're going to try to get it to where you'll be able to choose the moving averages on Object Trader. Now, we're going to have to work that out because you might want to do an EMA, you know, an SMA, you know, exponential moving averages, you know, work really well. Lots of people use those. The different types of moving averages in NinjaTrader are, let's see, you've got your EMA, you got an HMA, you got a KAMA, which is, what is that one? Does anybody remember what that actually is? KAMA. Then you've got moving average ribbon. That's probably not that one. And then you've got the SMA, which is simple moving average. And you got this one here. I don't even know what some of these are, truthfully. You know, I've never used them. Anybody know what TMA is? I know what TMI is. That's too much information. Don't tell me that. TMA, have no idea. Anybody? Because you'd think, okay, if I was going to program something like this, I would put an explanation of it in the parameters, wouldn't you? I mean, doesn't that just make sense? Anybody know what a TMA is? I'm just curious. Yeah, there you go. See, Bob says he likes to use the right-click and the fibs. I do too. you know, when I know, well, let's say for instance, what if this decides, but since we got multiple object types, could we say, you know what? If you close up, I'll also take you. If you touch my little trade here, I'll also take you. See what I mean? So with this multiple object type, you could actually have set up any way you want. Okay. You could even add, not sure why that didn't fire my trade on, not sure on that. It's probably something to do with my play. Oh, I know why. Because I got 3 contracts selected, and you can't do more than that without changing the max quantity. Sorry about that. So probably what I'd do here then is I'd go ahead and do an auto region close, insert, and grab one if it just happens to go above that little box. See, like that. So now I've got this set, plus I've got my right click trade. What if I wanted to add one if it just comes down just a little bit? Hopefully I get a higher low and it doesn't crater me, but I like higher lows. Okay, you could even turn that back on just in case. Goes back up through the top. It's real easy to do. Okay, oh, we didn't turn that on though. And let's see, we got a total of 4. So we can't do any more anyway because we've got 1, 2, 3. The 4th one's already fired, so we'd have to kick this up again to ever get it because we got a total of 4 contracts, even though they haven't fired yet. See what I mean? Because a right-click trade automatically knows it's part of that max quantity. Some things to remember with as sophisticated as I've made Object Trader. Let's see if we get that. Let's see, Maz, on your question. Is there a way to print the object type you were in on the chart? Well, there's always a way. I mean, just like my programmer says, if you got the money, I got the time. That's what he tells me. And he's right, because he literally, if you think about it, in programming, the sky's the limit. Let's see, what was your other answer? Is there a way to maybe the moving average? In case you forgot what you're in, that's not a bad idea. Or maybe leave the box extended till it's out of a tray, but then that takes up quite a bit of your space. You may be right. Maybe we ought to just print it just da-da-da-da across there. That way you know what you're in. I'll talk to him on that. Or maybe once you're in, no, I was thinking once you're in a trade, it just prints the ones you're in, but that wouldn't be good because I might want to add like a power dot, for instance. I want to be able to do that. Okay. TMA is the moving average. That's funny. The moving average. If anybody knows what TMA is, I am not sure. But then again, if you think about all the indicators that are out there nowadays, do you know all of them to begin with? I mean, you know, look at all the indicators that NinjaTrader's got. Mercy be. You know, that's a lot. So see how we got in total of 2. We turn this back on, we get in a total of 3. I don't think we hit our right click though, did we? And there you're flat. See how that can work like that? It's pretty cool. You could redraw your Fibonacci and see if you could get it again. You know, right click and go to MIT, maybe another one at 50, and just see if you get one. If not, maybe you'll get the box and just turn the box on and go to your object types, power dots, bar close on, that type of thing. Okay. Triangular moving average, is that what that means, Kenneth? So a triangular moving average, Diane says, and Kenneth says, is a technical indicator that is similar to other moving averages. The TMA shows the average or mean price of an asset over a specified number of data points, usually a number of price bars. So basically, I guess it's just a different way of, you know, configuring it, because a moving average is just simply a moving average. But isn't it better to trade price action to begin with, people? I mean, if you trade price action, you'll see time and time again. Let me just show you something here, just real quick. Okay. I'll just kill this. We don't need any more trades. Got to turn them off or turn off your LESE and all that. But just to give you an example, this morning, my son got up literally, and I'm pretty sure he boxed this trade in right across here. See how it kissed that resistance right there and rolled out of that box? Well, it rolled right back in it pretty quick. Okay. He lost internet. He lost internet, and I think by that time he was up in through here somewhere. But what do you think that trade looks like there? Anybody? Now, you know, obviously I showed it just a minute ago, but look at this. You have a low, you have a high, you have a higher low, higher high. Could you box that in? And the answer is yes. So quickly, once we got him on, you know, where he had his internet again, went long on that puppy. So that turned into, instead of a losing trade that never hit 10 ticks, lost his internet probably somewhere through here. I don't know. He called me, if I remember right, just right in through here, maybe even 525, 523, 520. I don't remember. My eyes were still glued shut. But we quickly got him internet, and we nailed that trade by simply getting out of the trade and then boxing that in and going long. And it got all his money back and then some. Okay, so that's the way to do it. I showed you his today too. It was 235.70 if I remember right, or something like that. Okay, and of course keep in mind that your trades are always going to come off of it. Even though Ninja said he was up 270 across the board, it cost us 35 in trades because you actually had these trades here, and then you had the long trades. So you add those contracts, and of course it takes away from your totals. Did my son do a market order right there, Gary? Well, basically, what happened this morning is he still didn't have any internet. So don't tell on me or anything, but that was, yeah, that was fired just literally right there. Just a perfect trade setup. Okay. So if you lose your internet, if I've got your login and everything else, I'll help you out. But no, I'm teasing. But if you lose internet, you're going to lose your trade because that was a naked trade out there. And you can clearly see how high it went. And it went there pretty quick too. Okay. Now, if you think about it, watch what oil actually did though. Let me just turn it on higher and you'll see it. Let me turn it on even higher. We'll just turn it on max. See there? So you can see that you could easily get whole again, even if you got on the wrong side of the trade. Can you run a fib from the high? You're talking about this high right here to where this trade was, or this trade here? Yeah, you'd have to run it this way. So see, that basically came to the 50 and it pulled back and then took off like that. Yeah. And once it had changed trends, but see, keep in mind, when I saw this change trends, though, you know, he was right. I mean, he nailed a good trade. It's just that he lost internet. But when you see this happening like this right here, and this is your first key to it, is that they're finally starting to get higher lows. That one just kind of went right up there, so it didn't do anything. But then you got another higher low. That's a good indication right there. See it? And then what did they do? They broke. That's a trend change. Now, will they all work? No, but I'll tell you what, you box that little puppy in right across there and they work most of the time. Okay, but you have to have that low, high, higher, low, higher, high, and break, or you got to wait for the full pullback or full shoot up and then do a fib from here to here, and that's probably 38%, I think we said. Okay, everyone, we went a little past 8 o'clock, but that's what's coming and that's what's here as far as what I'm checking out. And you can see there's a couple of little glitches in it. I'm not afraid to show those because I'm going to have them fixed, obviously. Okay, let's see. Dennis says this indicator shows the economic news for the day on your chart in NinjaTrader 8. It's fully configurable for the type of news items you'd like to see. The color is different. Oh yeah, yeah. There are some good news indicators that you can definitely put on your chart. If trading more than one chart, would be nice to see the total per chart on OT. Well, you actually do. Well, you see the total per trade. Oh, I see what you mean. Well, we got a little graph you could see that on, but I don't really put it on my charts. But I just look at the total, and keep in mind that when you're trading, you don't have to go for a large amount like that. Just like my son did this morning. He got on the wrong side of the trade here because he lost internet. He got his money back. Did he go for this whole trade? No. No, we got him his money, and he was happier than a lark. Much better to be up 235 than down 235, especially across 5 contracts. Okay. So Dennis, on your question, is that actually an indicator under Ninja 8 that shows the news? What's the name of it? Quincy, when do I think this will be ready? Well, he's working on everything. It's real easy to do this wedge trade, which he's working on, because see, wedge prints 2 lines. So all he's got to do is do away with one of those lines and make it to where only one of these buttons works it. So we kind of talked about it, and we said the T button would be the one. So it's going to print 1 line only. And then if you wanted to short, for instance, if it broke a trend line, you could certainly do it. Okay. Oh, it's in an elite section for paid members, Dennis. Is it a one that has to be activated, or is just a DLL file that everybody could get? But this should be ready pretty soon, and I'm going to try to quit working on Object Trader because we've done a lot to it. This is a pivotal thing right here. I've been wanting something like this because I don't know how many times I've been trading in the room and had to take a trade late because it didn't actually hit my area that I wanted. But what if I turned on trend power dot and mid-band and predictor on trades? Now this one probably would have only fired on these power dots right here, not trend power dots. So you may not have gotten this trade at all. I would have gotten it myself because frankly, that was a good trade. I did actually get the next trade. It came down right in this area right here. And that was a good, see how our auto fib works. Isn't that beautiful? I don't think anybody else on the market's got that. Not too shabby. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll get it out to you as soon as it's prepared. We're also looking at logs of people's any logs that come to us, simply because if there's any issues and glitches and things, we want them gone. When you get a trade off of dot, is that a market order? Yes. Any trades on this chart are pretty much market orders unless you choose like a right-click trade at limit, sell limit or whatever. But if they're like box trades, I mean, think about it. If you break a box by 2 ticks, would you want a limit order there, or would you want a market order? Boom, you're in. Because you couldn't really do a limit order there because you don't know the limit price at that point. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And if I missed any questions, just ask me tomorrow morning. We're all glad to be back from Thanksgiving. We're in full gear mode, ready to trade tomorrow. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. It was a good day today. All right. Thanks everybody. Have a good one. Good night. Yes, somebody was asking, new member. These are recorded. Yes, they're under your member login. And if you have any questions on that, just give me a shout. I like to help people even right after the room closes is the best time, but I'm around quite a bit. All right, thanks again, everyone.